for open meeting purposes, this is being recordificated on Mr. Gazinski's cell phone,
Very
so.
high functioning phone. Hopefully.
I know. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the animal control and Miss Brenda Hamlin.
Good morning, how are you?
Good things.
So I'd like to start off by saying I'm not asking for any money. Level funded from the last couple of years. I am at
I would say you were asking for $89,915.
well, not any more money.
No more money. Okay.
No more money than last year.
Right.
I am at the top of my grade step. I hit that this last year, fiscal year. I tried to figure out how to do my presentation without it being all about me, but since I'm pretty much by myself, it's all about me. Just to let you know how last year in animal control went, we were pretty busy. I did lose my assistant for about 6 months. She was out injured, so it was me from February to the end of July, 24/7 every day. So it was a little bit much, sorry. She did come back at the end of July, and we did hire a second assistant. So I actually have had every weekend and holiday off since August 1st. That is the first time in 10 years that that has happened. So it's been pretty good. But as the saying goes, all good things come to an end. And I am very happy for Casey, but she's been hired as a full-time animal control officer for Foxborough. That will be officially announced on Monday. So for the time being, I will be going back to every other weekend until I find somebody else. It's just, it'll be another adjustment, but I'll get through it. But I will like to put an ad out there for an assistant. It does take a little while sometimes to find somebody who's qualified to help. I will tell you that with both of my assistants, I actually was able to enjoy my weekends off and not worry about the calls coming in and being handled correctly. A little bit more about me. This past year I was re-elected as the president of Perfect Cat Shelter. We still work very closely with them. They take in all of our stray cats that come in and pay for all the medical bills and whatnot associated with that. I was re-elected to the Animal Control Officers Association Board as a treasurer and membership secretary. That doesn't add too much, workload. But 4 years ago, the state changed their requirements, and every year animal control officers, whether you be full-time or part-time, have to take continuing ag courses to keep up on everything that's going on. So I will say that both Erin and myself have done those credits. They're 8 continuing ed credits, depending on what the course is, depends on how many credits you get. So we've both, kept up and done what we needed with the state for that. The truck is a 2017 model. It now has 34,000 miles on it. Just so you know how much we are driving around and whatnot. The only thing I failed to put in my package for my budget is the split between Millis and Medway. I usually put that percentage up there, and I did fail to include it. So we're still splitting animal control. 55% goes to Medway, 45% of the cost goes to Millis. So this year, Medway's 55% would be $49,453 of that $89,000 and change, where Millis's part would be $40,462.
And why is it 50/50?
Historically, I have more calls over in Medway, only because they're slightly bigger. So that's how it we used to do 50-50, probably up to about 7 or 8 years ago. And then we actually looked at the calls and came to an agreement that it should be, Medway should be assessed a little bit more money in my budget.
We still support that.
I figured you would.
Don't let Mike Boynton think otherwise.
Any comments from the board, Ms. Warren? She's not asking for any money, so take that into consideration.
So having said that, I have
Any more money?
Any more money?
two questions. One is, what will it take resource-wise to move dog licensing out of the town clerk's office and online?
I was waiting for that, but since you brought it forward, I'd be more than happy to address that. Millis is one of the only towns that I know that still issues handwritten dog licenses. It's very time consuming for the town clerk's office. And it's not just the handwritten dog licenses, they go from the paper and they're put into an access program so that we can keep track, because we do work together on it. By state law, the vets have to send the towns all the rabies certificates for the dogs that they've vaccinated, so it's data input too. To put the rabies expiration date, new dogs, old dogs, and it's hand done and then another step into the computer. So for the last 4 years, Medway has had a web-based system, and there is a learning curve with it, but 2 years ago they were able to offer online dog licenses. And I would say the first year, maybe a quarter of the people did the online dog licenses. You can go in, you can upload your rabies certificate if it's expired, you can do your license, you get a confirmation number. The town clerk, assistant town clerk would then go in the next morning, there's a confirmation number, you hit license, and you just punch in the next tag number, prints it out, stick it in the mail. It offers more options to where you can actually put the dog's date of birth, the microchip number, so much more information into it at a one-time thing. And now I can not only print out dog licenses by number, but by last name. I can print out microchip numbers, so I scan it. If it saves me a phone call to the microchip company, I can just look up by microchip, get in touch with the owner. It's much less time consuming. Once you get the new system, the company allows you to do letters, and you can email reminders for your rabies is coming due, your licenses are due, your licenses are past due. There's so many different options that all you have to do is click a button to select the person, hit print letter, and whatever you need the letter for, fold it and go. I used to do, and people are getting better about it, getting the licenses done, but I used to do over 900 reminder postcards to people. Once people sign up, and I hope they do sign up, because a lot of people do all their bills online, and this is just one more step for them to, as I'm sitting down and doing it, I'll do it now. Now they're not late, they get their license, but a lot more people are using the internet to do all their bills, so affording them to license their dogs online is just, I think, so much better for a lot of people that don't have the opportunity to actually come in and do it, or forget to mail it in with their census. It's just streamlines it so much, and I think the time-consuming effort on the town clerk's part, it would be so beneficial to them.
I think it would be really convenient for the citizens. Do you have any sense of what that costs, or is there an opportunity to do any sharing? Is it a licensed software or something we have to own?
It's a web-based software, I understand. I don't know that much about it. I do know Lisa actually talked to the company that Medway uses on Thursday, so I'll let her get into that.
Okay.
The other good thing about it is in Medway, there are different levels of who can go in and look. The police department has a source to go in and look up dog licenses. So if somebody called and says, 10 o'clock at night, hey, I found a dog, this is the tag number, they can look at it. They can call the owner. It saves me a trip out and overtime. If they could reconnect the owner and the dog, sometimes I do have to, still go and pick up the dog if nobody is home to grab the dog. There is an animal control level, but Medway has opted to put me in as the town clerk level, so I can go in, make changes and things like that. So it's something that I can also help with too. But as to price, I'm not sure. I do know, because I spoke with the Medway town clerk, that she talked to Lisa the other day, and apparently, and I'm not quite sure what it is, if you get towns in a row that hook up to the same system, there is, I think Lisa said, a one-time discount, but a discount's a discount.
Yeah.
So, and they do all the input. You send them your dog license list, and they do all the initial input, so it's not the town clerk starting from square one. They give you the program with everybody in it, as much information as you have to give them.
So one other quick question on the notion of resource sharing. Do you have the ability somewhere to house and own a part-time after-school intern?
No.
No.
And I will tell you,
That's okay.
I'm going to tell you why. Most of the animals that we take into the facility are of unknown vaccine history. It was several years ago, I picked up a cat and brought it into the shelter and kennel. For the first 2 days, the cat was fine. The third day, my assistant went in to clean and feed, opened up the cage, and it attacked everything that we had in the kennel. It was rabid. I cannot take anybody into the kennel for that reason.
And as a one-time program, would there be a role for, again, I'm thinking of kind of the early teen responsible leadership, mentoring type thing, working with, as an example, the Board of Health and the Recreation Department to pull together maybe a one-day pet care and adoption day, where we have so many area shelters, dog rescue organizations, trainers, vets. It might be a time when you can bundle it with your rabies clinics, but make it a bigger thing and have some student involvement in getting it organized, like we had the safety day, which was really successful with Ryan Locke last year.
I don't think you could bundle it, quite honestly, with the rabies day, because that's pretty much conveyor belt, in pay, vaccinate, write the certificate and out. You have some fractious animals that come in, and you would be taking dogs that are stressed out because they're in a situation where they're not used to, and it's owners hand them to me, I hold, we give them back to the owners, we actually have people there to hold dogs while people are giving information. It's just not a good situation to want to do it in with the rabies clinic. To do a day, I don't see why not, quite honestly. It would have to be on a weekend that I'm not working, because I couldn't commit to being able to stay there the entire time. To offer something like that, absolutely.
Maybe even multi-town or something, but I'm just looking for something. Just for, people who could come, different, say, dog rescue organizations could be there showing. I mean, there's a weather issue here too, so I
Well,
understand.
and there's also the state laws that don't allow adoption days like that. They're not supposed to. Rescues, the reason for that is a lot of rescues have a lot of dogs. They come in and it's impulse shopping, for lack of a better word. People come in, they see a puppy, oh my God, I want the puppy, not let's adopt it, instead of going to an actual shelter, sitting down, getting to know the dog. I honestly agree with the state on that one. You need to do a little more, know the breed, find the puppy. I wouldn't be opposed to having them come in and having a fair type of
Like a meet and greet.
a meet and greet, but adoption shouldn't happen right then and there.
I just wanted to put it into the
Yep.
cauldron of ideas.
No, absolutely. Actually, Medway Park and Rec was thinking along the same lines. Their idea was to start with Medway businesses, groomers, rescues, trainers, doggy daycares. I think it's a great idea. Where she wanted to have it wouldn't work, so we were rethinking that. But you're correct. Weather would be a factor in that.
And a terminal to do your dog licenses on site,
Um,
online.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, boom, done. That would have to be done between January and April 15th.
Okay, no more questions.
Jim?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
And you do a great job, I think everybody knows this, but there's
Thank
been a
you.
lot more than just the mechanics of running the show here that Brenda has to deal with, which is not easy. She gets
I-
high marks from our town council.
Thank you. Just one other thing, I